We're less than 10 months away from the presidential election, and recent polls suggest that President Joe Biden is losing support among black voters. 63% of black voters approve of Biden, according to the Roper Center, and that number, though, is down from 87% in 2020. As Biden's black support wanes, Trump's is growing. Meanwhile, a USA Today and Suffolk University poll shows that 1 in 5 black voters say they'll support a third-party presidential candidate. That is a scary and interesting number for some folk. Joining me now is Adrienne Shropshire. She is the executive director of BlackPAC, an independent organization dedicated to voter engagement. Most media outlets are focused on the migrant crisis, or they're talking about abortion. But your organization has been talking about black voters. What are some of the top issues for black voters these days?
Well, there is a whole host of issues that black voters are actually deeply concerned about. It's almost hard to distinguish which ones people are feeling most intensely about. It's everything from costs, concerns about costs that don't feel like they're going down to people, even though they're reading about it in the paper. They're concerned about gun violence, concerned about criminal justice and police reform, concerned about education, both K through 12, as well as college and college affordability. But there's an overarching issue that really is causing a lot of anxiety and has been for some time for black voters. And that really is a deep concern about the rise in racism and white supremacy. And people are deeply unsettled by that. They're concerned about it for their children. They're concerned about their own personal safety. People are concerned about hate crimes. And so there's just a host of issues that black voters feel very, very concerned about as we go into the presidential election.
What can Biden and the Democrats do to maybe get more support from black voters based on what we know?
Well, they need to start flooding the zone. I mean, I think you hear a lot of talk about how they need to, adjust their message or sort of come up with the best messaging. And all that's true because they need to speak to people from where they are and really take seriously the concerns that they're expressing. But the reality is that nothing is breaking through, and it isn't as if the campaign isn't spending money. They are. The challenge for them, it isn't breaking through where voters are receiving their information. And so, we've been in focus groups for the last several months and doing polling. And one of the things each and every time that people say is that they just don't know what the administration has done. And so that's obviously a problem for the administration, but it's also a problem for our communities because there are big things that the administration has done and has been working on. So they need to be flooding the zone across every platform. They need to take really seriously the places where younger voters in particular are getting their information from and not assuming that just doing traditional media is going to get through to anyone.
Right. They're going to definitely have to do something different. Flooding the zone, that's some powerful advice. We'll see what happens. Adrienne Shropshire is the executive director of BlackPAC. You can follow them at blackpac.org. Adrienne, thanks so much for joining us.